Hey, Flower Tribe, it's Kelly Lehman from Cranberry Fields Flower Farm, and today I want to give you some terrific tips on how to grow beautiful peonies just like these in your own backyard. So if we haven't met yet, it's nice to meet you. My name is Kelly Lehman. I'm the owner of Cranberry Fields Flower Farm here in Cranberry, New Jersey, and I love giving you guys fun, free flower tips. So please feel free to subscribe to this YouTube channel and hit that bell notification so you know whenever I post another fun, free flower tip video. So let's dive right in. So it's peony season. Now we're going to show you how to put herbaceous peonies in the ground in a few simple steps, and I'm going to tell you how to care for these plants so that you can have magnificent looking peonies like these in your own gardens. So it's springtime, and springtime is a terrific time to put herbaceous peonies into the ground. Now a lot of people prefer to plant peony tubers in fall, and we have a video showing you how to do that, so I will link that how to plant your peony tubers in fall video at the end of this video. But in the meantime, I want to show you how to get a peony plant that you can find at your garden centers into the ground in spring. So peonies are one of my all-time favorite flowers. A lot of gardeners say that they'll last up to 100 years, and they're super low maintenance, and everybody just goes bananas when they see a vase of peonies together. So peonies usually start blooming in spring, towards like the end of spring when temps start to warm up. And I'm going to show you how to get these gals in the ground if you can find them at your local garden center stores, because this is around the time of year where you're going to find them. So this weekend I went to one of my local garden centers and I picked up some peonies, and I made sure that the leaves were super green. I wanted to make sure that they weren't like yellowing or dried out or brown. And it was a good sign that they already had some of these flower balls on top. These are going to be the blooms. So I know that this is a healthy plant. It's already got some flowers that are probably going to bloom this year. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out to my garden. I'm going to find a super sunny spot that gets at least 6 to 8 hours of sunlight each day, because peonies love sun. And I dug a hole that is 2 times as deep as the plant and about 2 times as wide. So that's really important. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of compost, just a little bit of organic compost to the pile. I'm going to mix that all together, and this is going to help the root system so it has an easy way to break through that soil. You want to make sure that the soil's not too packed together, because then the roots just have to work harder as they're getting established. So we've got some good organic compost, we've got some good loose soil, and what I did beforehand was I watered my plant in. So a couple hours ago, I gave it a good soaking with a hose. So this, I'm just showing you, just to kind of get it watered. But I used a hose before. I soaked the plant, and then I let it sit for a couple hours. And the reason I did that is because sometimes when plants are in a pot, they get something called root bound. And when the roots are root bound, it's very hard for the water to break through and actually give the plant what it needs. So I'm going to very gently remove this from the pot. I want to make sure I don't break the stems. And this guy's not too bad. I've seen other plants that were just covered with really, really tight roots all around here. And that's really bad, because what happens is if the roots are super, super tight all around here and is root bound, it's very hard for that water to get in and feed the plant the water that it needs. Sometimes the water just repels right off of those roots. But this gal's looking pretty good. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a massage. I'm going to loosen up those roots, just to make sure that that water can get in easily. I'm going to do the same thing to the top of the plant. And it's a good idea to plant this plant so that it's flush. The soil level is flush with the soil level in your garden. Because once again, you don't want to plant it too deep. Peonies don't like to be planted with more than 2 inches of soil above the highest eye on the tuber. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So right now, this gal looks pretty flush with the soil level that's in my garden already. So you're better off going a little higher than a little lower. And I'm just going to kind of massage it a little bit more. Loosen things up, but I'm going to be super gentle that I don't break off any of these eyes or any of these stems. So you want to make sure that you don't bury more than 2 inches of soil above where this first eye is coming off of the tuber. So this is about where that first eye is coming up. You want to make sure that the soil line isn't up here, because if you bury your peony too deep, like more than 2 inches above that, you're going to wind up with beautiful green leaves and probably not too many blooms. And that's probably the #1 reason why people don't get peony flowers each season. And I'm just going to fill it in. it all in. Okay, and then I'm gonna give it a little more water just to kind of keep it happy until it gets established. You wanna make sure that the plant doesn't dry out, especially when you first put it in the ground, but you also don't wanna overwater it because your peonies can get something called root rot, and you don't want that to happen if it gets too soaked. So I'm gonna give it a little bit of water just to get it started. And then that's it. So that's it, guys. It's super easy to get these gals in the ground. And once again, this is an herbaceous peony. Now, there's all different types of peonies. There's tree peonies, there's Ito peonies. So each of them has like a little bit of a different planting style, but this style was for herbaceous. I like to harvest my peonies and then save them for a few weeks and then make them rebloom. And I'm gonna show you how to do this dry cut method right now. These were some peonies that I cut like weeks and weeks and weeks prior to putting them in these vases, and look how fresh and beautiful they look. So I'm gonna show you how I got them to last so long. So this is called the dry cut method, and it's a great way to preserve your peonies when you want to use them at a later date. So we went out to the garden, we went out to our peony fields, and we found peonies that are in the soft marshmallow stage. It's kind of soft to the touch, and it's not full-blown open yet like these peonies over here, because you don't want to do the dry cut method with peonies that are already mature and, you know, really opened up. So the marshmallow stage is key, but make sure that you don't cut them when this middle major flower is in this tight marble stage, because this guy right now doesn't have too much movement, and there's a good chance that he's not going to wind up opening at all. He is going to add a lot of interest to our arrangement, but he's probably not going to open because there's no movement, it's not soft. So the marshmallow stage is key. And guys, cutting them in the marshmallow stage is also key for cutting them for the best time for vase life. So even when I put these in water, and I'm not doing the dry cut method, I make sure that I cut them in that marshmallow stage. I don't cut them when they're too tight like that. So the same rule of thumb, always cut them in the marshmallow stage and they'll have great vase life. And what we did was we stripped off most of the leaves from the bottom 2/3 of the plant. I left a few leaves in place up here just because sometimes I like some peony leaves for interest in my arrangements, but you're welcome to even strip those off if you want. And I gave some of the ants that might have still been on it just like a gentle shake so they wound up, you know, being in the grass. And then we just put them in some craft paper. Now you can use craft paper, you can use newspaper, both of those are fine. And notice how we didn't put any of the stems in water. These stems are totally dry right now. Nothing touched the water. And I made sure that I brought them to my barn, but you can also use your garage or a cool place outside, and let them kind of dry out first. So we let them dry out because some of them had a little bit of dew on them, some of them had moisture. It's best to cut your fresh cut flowers in the early morning or late afternoon because the flowers aren't exhausted from the sun at that point. So since we cut them early morning, they still had some dew on them. And you don't want to do the next step while these guys have any kind of moisture on them because it'll wind up forming mold. So we let them dry out just for a little bit. We made sure all the moisture was off of them. We wound up swapping out the craft paper for a fresh piece because the other one had some moisture on it. So when they're finished drying, get a fresh piece of craft paper, and that's the paper you're going to wind up wrapping them in. But you can also use newspaper. We made sure that the stems did not touch any kind of water. There's no moisture on this. And now we're just simply folding them up. And do this nice and loose. We don't want to touch the blossom, so I don't want to be rough with them. So I'm working mostly with the stems. Let's wrap this around. And then I'm going to very gently add some tape. And I'm going to very gently fold this over because once again, I don't want to disturb those blooms and kind of bruise them, because when you bruise a flower petal, a lot of times it will turn brown. And I'm just going to add some tape. I'm going to put down the date. And then I'm going to put them in my refrigerator. So it's a really good idea. I'm probably going to lay mine down flat. Sometimes I'll lay them up against the wall like this in the refrigerator. So it's easier for us because we have floral refrigerators. But you can do a smaller version of this, and you can actually put it in your refrigerator. If you put them in your refrigerator, make sure that they're away from fruits and vegetables, because fruits and vegetables give off a gas that fresh cut flowers don't like. So you can leave them in here for a number of weeks. I've actually done this where I've kept my peonies in this dry cut method for like 2 or 3 weeks. And then when I'm ready to use them, I just go into the refrigerator, I gently remove the tape. I'll take the stem, and what I'll do is I'll give it a fresh cut on the bottom. I'll go at least 2 inches up on the stem. If your stems are shorter and you can't do 2 inches, go at least 1 inch. But if you can, I think the more the merrier coming up here, because a lot of this might have dried out already. So I'm going to give it a snip on a diagonal. It's always a good idea to cut your flower stems on a diagonal because that allows for maximum water absorption. And then I'm just going to put them in a vase of clean water, and I'm going to keep them away from heat sources. And I'm going to wait for this gal to kind of open up nice and beautiful. And within just a few days, depending on the weather, depending on the heat, it's going to open up to look more like this gal. Now, if it's a super hot day out, like if it's 80, this bloom will probably open up within a matter of hours. If it's cooler out, like in the 60s or 70s, or your house is like in the 70s, it's probably going to take like a day or two. I've actually used peonies that we cut in the field in May as far away as July using this method. So it's just a super way to keep your flowers looking fresher longer. And these are some of my favorites. Come on through. Come on, daughter. Blooper. Come on, you'll be in my blooper. Just wave. Yeah.
Sorry, Flower Tribe.
All right, let's try this again. Thank you so much for joining us in this video, and please say hi to us over on my Cranberry Fields Instagram page. You can also find us on TikTok, and I made a whole bunch of podcasts for you. You can find those wherever you listen to your podcast. And please also let me know where you're viewing this from in this great, big, beautiful world. I love to see how our flower tribe is growing around the globe each week. Also check out our Kelly Lehman's Flower Tribe Facebook group, because there's thousands of gardeners from all over the world, and they're asking and answering loads of garden questions over there. And know that YouTube has allowed me to have a super thanks button attached to this channel. And if you'd like to buy us a cup of coffee, or let us know if you appreciate these videos, that would be terrific. Or you could just give us a like or a comment below. I would appreciate that. And I will see you guys in the next video.